Hi, welcome to the A Quilting Life podcast. I'm Sherri McConnell from A Quilting Life.
And I'm Chelsi Stratton from Chelsi Stratton Designs.
And today's episode is airing on Monday, November 28th. And so we just finished up the American Thanksgiving weekend. And hope that yours was wonderful if you celebrated that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a great episode today. I think we have some great topics. Let's just get started first with Chelsi's quilt.
Okay, so we're kind of following the theme of last week. Mom invited me to have my amaryllis quilt on the table, and I thought it would be perfect to do it again, except my quilt is on the wall today and Mom has hers on the table. So on the wall, this is from our Home for the Holidays book that we co-authored together. This is Poinsettia, and I absolutely love this. Beautiful poinsettia flowers and patchwork. And I just think it's so pretty. And I made this using Hustle and Bustle by Basic Gray. I think it's adorable. And the quilting is
I love this quilting pattern.
Oh my goodness. It is like...
I don't think I've seen this one close up before. I have to ask Marion to put this on one of my quilts. I love it.
It literally looks like an atom with like neurons and protons inside of it.
I don't know. There's like a little orange peel thing right there.
Oh, yeah. I do
where
see
the
that.
circles intersect. I love this design.
Yeah, it's really, really pretty. I like what she did on that. Yeah, we'll probably have to pester her about this.
And did you do scrappy binding too with all the reds?
I did scrappy binding.
How fun.
Honestly, most of my projects from the book, I ended up doing scrappy binding because there was extra fabrics. And I thought, how cool to show off all of the prints. Normally, I don't do that.
Right.
And it turned out so, so cute.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
I
love doing scrappy binding. And actually, you have a really old YouTube video that I followed to find out the measurements that you were using for it.
Oh,
and
good.
it turned out really, really cute. I love this quilt.
Yeah,
well,
I love it.
After we film here, I guess we're going to need you guys to take an up-close picture so I can show the quilting.
Oh, yes,
because the picture I had before is from far
a
away.
distance.
Yeah.
Right.
So we'll have to get an up-close one.
Yeah, I'll snap a picture.
Good idea.
Since you guys talked about it.
Yeah. It's just a fun design. We can probably bug Marion and find out what it is if we send her the picture
Marion, we need the info.
Yes. So on the table is the Christmas tree skirt from our book. And this is Red Barn Christmas from Sweetwater.
One of my favorites.
And I just love this. This is so funny, though. The binding on this was literally from an older, I think it was a Sandy Gervais Moda collection from a decade ago that I had in my stash and ended up working. I guess I hadn't requested fabric for binding with this collection. Yeah. And at the end, I was just like, what am I going to bind it with and do my ties with? And I had this fabric in my stash. It felt so good to use it up. But yes, everything else in the quilt is from Red Barn Christmas by Sweetwater.
What I love about this is just the easiest patchwork sewing and then cutting it out how it needs to be cut. I love that. And there is something to be said about, this just has a simple diamond quilting pattern
all over.
On it.
Marion did this one too.
And now I'm like wanting this too because it's simple and doesn't distract from the patchwork and the quilt. Yeah. Very, very pretty.
Yeah. And when I did lay out the patchwork, I think the diagram in the book shows it, but I did do, like I alternated lights.
Yes, you did.
And alternated reds and greens. And that it just, because it's a circular, you actually make the patchwork and you quilt it. And then you cut it. So
is that difficult after you've made this and cut and quilted the whole thing to cut a quilted
it's a little nerve-wracking
project?
Yeah.
That would scare me so bad.
But it makes it so much easier for the quilter too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That would kind of scare me.
Yeah.
Next, I guess I'll have to add that to my list.
Excited to use this year. So, okay. Before we go any further, we want to mention Cozy Earth again. And we are excited to be able to give you 40% off anything site-wide with the code. And if you haven't listened before Chelsea and I have been working with Cozy Earth for a little bit now, and we both got sheets, which we love, and we have pajamas that are on the way. We're excited for those.
I'm very excited about the pajamas.
Yeah, and then, but do you know what I noticed? They have new pajama colors after we ordered ours.
Do they really?
Yeah, so be sure to check that out. Lots of colors, and they have waffle towels. They have bedding.
The waffle towels are something, I'm super excited about those.
Yeah, and everything is really soft. It's made from ultra soft viscose from bamboo, and we can also say that it's been one of Oprah's favorite things, their different products, for several years. This year, I think she chose the waffle towels.
Yes, she did. I saw that on their Instagram.
Yeah.
And last episode, we thought you would already have the pajamas. However, we ended up filming earlier than we initially anticipated.
Yeah.
So that we don't have to do anything on the week of Thanksgiving.
Right.
So there's still next episode.
So next episode we'll have that review for you. But yeah, we're having a lot of fun working with Cozy Earth and love their products.
Yeah. I will say this, we are filming before Thanksgiving. We already talked about that. But I am so excited to have a home-cooked meal. And I will be expecting an assignment from you.
Oh, yes. It's coming soon.
Please
that's on my
let
list
me know.
Today, yes. And there will be Christmas decorations here for Thanksgiving because I just decided, you know what?
Go for it.
I'm just going to start decorating tomorrow.
You really should go for
Yeah.
it. We talked about this and we got all excited about it. My kids are dying for me to start setting everything up.
Yeah.
And I'm just dreading going in Dad's garage and getting my trees down from his 12-foot tall shelves.
Yeah.
I'm mortified.
Yeah. Send your husband up the ladder. Okay. So we have a couple things Billy's going to start with, right?
Well, do you want to announce the live stream first?
Oh, yes. We are going to do a live stream.
We have a date for you.
So it will be on Wednesday, December 14th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. We will be doing a live stream sharing our new quilts and patterns and fabric. And we are really excited about that. We hope that you can be there, watch it live, or we will also be taping it and re-releasing it, the recording. So
Yes.
But yeah, so it'll still be up on the YouTube channel, but if you can join live, I'll be manning the chat box and
we can do a little Q&A at the end.
Mm-hmm, I'll save those questions and make sure that my mom and sister hear them. And we can get a little feedback, and that should be good.
And we're sewing like crazy. We hope that we'll have if the quilts aren't all quilted, they hopefully at least all the tops will be pieced.
The tops will be done.
Yes.
Mom's quilts are done. I will give her a gold star because they're beautiful. Mom is now helping me. I wonder if I've given you some anxiety you've been great. You haven't been pestering me about my quilts, which is wonderful. But I'm working on them.
Yeah, no, and I'm really just trying to enjoy it. I try to leave something every day when I leave the sewing room that's ready to go. Like right now I have 40 flying geese ready to sew.
Oh my goodness.
They're all laid out, so all I have to do is chain piece, So
Mom, you are so organized.
I've been able to keep up with my regular stuff and then just do that extra. So
I'm
it's been
trying.
fun. Plus I get to keep the quilts I'm making, right?
Yes, she does get to keep the quilt she's making.
So
The fruits of your labors, Mother.
yes.
So it's 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern time, Wednesday, December 14th.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Awesome.
Yay.
Okay.
All right. So the next thing we were going to do today to start off was because of the last episode being favorite holiday traditions, and we said, leave some of yours in the comments. We just wanted to share a couple that we found, or I guess it's going to be more like summarizing. One thing I wanted to point out to you guys is, and I just lost it. It's the pickle ornament, right? You mentioned that?
Yes.
Okay, so we had someone here who she says the pickle ornament is a German tradition, I believe.
Ooh.
And her name's Vicky, but based on her last name, I don't want to mispronounce it, but it sounds to me that she is from Germany. But yeah, so I guess that pickle thing is
That's
from,
super cool.
from Germany.
I think I knew it was German, and that was probably one of the things that drew me to it, because I did take 2 years of German in high school and then 3 or 4 semesters in college, which
Whoa.
Yeah, I used to be able to read German pretty well. I would never have the accent correct, but that last semester in college, we were actually reading German literature.
How did
and
I not know this about you?
translating it? Yeah.
You just got like a million more cool points.
No, sorry. Yeah. So I had a pen pal from Germany when I was in middle school.
I knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I took German in high school, but wow, when you take it in college, it's a whole nother thing because the first semester is everything you learned in high school.
Oh my goodness.
So, but then for my English degree, I had to take
wow.
two full years. So that's a requirement for an English degree is to have. They consider it fluency, 2 years of a foreign language at the college level. So
What?
yeah.
Okay. I'm going to stop because everyone always comments on my facial expressions and how I'm always surprised by things Mom says.
Yeah, we were reading Thomas Mann, and I there's no way I could read that now. No way. But I was reading it, so
You could probably read something.
something. Yeah, a few things.
Wow.
Well, isn't the Christmas tree tradition from Germany?
Yes,
Is that
so
right?
many of our
That's
Christmas
amazing.
traditions are from Germany.
I thought the tree specifically
Yeah.
was, but because she also mentioned that she has trees like in every room of her house, and actually quite a few people. So I thought you
Yes.
guys were a little extreme, but there's a lot of people in the comments that mentioned, oh yeah, we have tons of Christmas trees, and we like to put one in every room. And I have one. Someone mentioned they have one in their sewing room. Yeah.
That makes me so happy.
Yeah. So I guess when we recorded the last episode, I thought you guys were a little extreme, but I guess I'm just not as extreme or I'm just not normal, I guess.
No, I read through the comments last night too, and I thought the same thing. I thought, oh, good. Lots of people have trees like we.
We're vibing with our traditions.
Yes. So
And
that
then
was fun.
also a lot of comments on the baking.
Yeah.
A lot of cool stories that people have shared about different types of cookies and different baked goods they've made. And then the ornament tradition is also widely shared, where people give new ornaments every year, or
It's my fave.
when there's someone new in the family, babies, or through marriage or whatnot.
Yeah, and lots of people's grandmothers make cookies and freeze them. And there was one I remember.
Really?
She
People
said
commented that?
Yeah, and she said when you get the box of cookies, that means you're an adult, right? I think she said something like that because all the adults get a box of cookies that the grandmother had made, or I can't remember if it was a grandmother or mother, but I thought that was so cool.
I
loved
want
that.
my
A
box
whole
of
box.
cookies.
I know.
So we can clearly state I am an adult.
Yes.
And then last one there's some other people that mentioned the whole cutting down the Christmas trees is also their tradition too.
Oh,
So
that makes me so
a lot
happy.
of people they share, same traditions that you guys talked about a couple weeks ago.
We just talked about it last night. We're trying to figure out if we can go this year. Yeah, we're excited.
Fun.
All right.
Fun.
Okay.
So I think that's it. If we want to move on and sort of introduce what we were
Okay.
talking about, and
Okay.
we figured this would be a good episode to bring it up.
Yeah. First, before we get started, I did want to mention several months ago, I received an email from someone who actually wrote about if I knew of any patterns for other holidays during this season, for instance, Hanukkah quilt patterns or other celebrations. And
Because there are many across
there are
the whole,
so many
around the world.
different types of religious celebrations going on right now, and I think Hanukkah is the one that always comes to mind first and I really didn't have any. I think I've seen some Hanukkah quilts before on social media and such.
I have, yeah.
The blue and the white, but we just thought we would mention that if any of you who listen or who watch, any of you have any that you've made to celebrate other
holidays.
Yeah.
we would love to have you email those, and maybe we could
Please share
them. Yeah.
Because obviously
that.
there's a ton of Christmas things, and you guys,
Right.
we celebrate Christmas and everything,
Right.
but it would be neat to see other holidays and other fabrics and colors that go along with that.
Right. Yeah, I feel like I may have seen at the exhibit at Quilt Market in Houston that was, for festival. I may have seen some other religious quilts there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just wanted to put that out there first. And then for today's topic, I just always feel like the end of the year It's just a really good time to evaluate our fabric stash. And so I made a whole list of questions.
It was comprehensive.
It's comprehensive.
I was impressed.
Yes.
She had bullet points for everything.
Yes.
And I was going through them like, wow, this was good.
And so we've kind of chosen the things that we thought would be fun to talk about right now as you're getting, you're probably finishing projects and then maybe possibly already have in the back of your mind things that you're going to start in the new year. And all of these things really do revolve around what fabrics we have to work with.
It's all about that renewal, right?
Yeah.
Like you get to this point at the end of the year where you're hustling and bustling, kind of finishing things up that you had planned. But it's also about preparing for the next year, starting fresh.
Okay, so our first category is how one builds a fabric stash. And I have 4 little questions. And so number 1, what is essential in your stash, Chelsi?
Well, like obviously my go-to is I need a solid background fabric that I have bolts and bolts and bolts of, which is going to be Bella 200. Like if you're talking about an essential, that's it for me. And probably a good stripe. Like,
yeah. This is actually related to a question I get all the time. People want to know, how do I buy a bolt of something?
yeah.
And you can buy it, request it from your local quilt shop, or online you can also request.
I feel like, too, going along with this question is what is essential to your stash. You're going to want some good, like you'll have prints that you'll love for bindings. If there's something you really love, buy a bolt of it. Or is something great for backings that you always have on hand. Like that actually would be better to buy a bolt of because you could get like a few quilts out of it.
Right.
That's something that I would say is essential, I guess.
Yeah.
Or even just like a basic print would be essential to add.
And we always have our own fabrics to sew with, but then there are always other collections that inspire us. And I do like to have those in my stash just for when on a whim you want to make something.
Yeah.
So
you're so good about that though. Like I will come to the house and Mom will have ordered different prints from different fabric designers that will be perfect for a backing. And I'm usually buying them from you because I never bought them.
Right.
And it really was a great thing to buy.
Yeah.
Mom's good at that. I'm not as good as that.
It's fun. One thing I do miss not having been to market recently is when we went to market, I was able to, walk around with our fat quarter bundle to
see what matched.
Yeah,
we'd walk around and put it right next to one of our friends' quilts and say, I really think this would work. Like,
right.
It's different when you're in person.
Yeah. And because then if some of those other designers had a 108-inch wide backing, you knew you could order it and it would match. And so as far as what's essential in my stash, I would say, again, Bella 200 is an essential.
100%.
Yeah. And then I like to have, I kind of looked at it a different way as far as I like to have polka dots in my stash at all times.
Dots and stripes, I would say, go hand in hand.
Dots and stripes all the time. Yeah, small florals and large florals.
Yes.
So, and we have those in our collections. The last question, any collection by other designers that you can't bear to part with? I thought this was a fun
I say this all the time. Do you know the answer to mine?
Lila Boutique?
Yeah,
fabric?
folktail.
Oh, folktail.
I still have folktail fabrics.
Okay.
That I am unwilling to part with. And actually, I have to cut some of it up for binding for the original Littletown quilts.
Right.
And I can't bring myself to do it.
Yeah.
Because I love it so much.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I think that's the one. Ooh, and anything by Holly of Urban Chicks is very hard for me to part with.
Okay.
Or open the bundle up. It's very... I had so much Swell Christmas. It was ridiculous. And I still have the Santa kit.
I still have some Swell Christmas.
Oh, my goodness. And
I never got the kit, but I have the
I got
fabric.
The kit. I had a hookup for the kit. Let me just tell you.
Well, I have that first Halloween collection that she did that I have not yet opened that
So
bundle.
do I.
And I want to do something with it. It's never going to
Yeah.
go out of style. It
It'll
has
never.
that vintage look.
It's vintage.
That is one thing. Fabrics with a vintage look never go out of style.
And she did a second, like a sister collection.
Yeah.
Halloween.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. But I need to get some of it.
Yeah.
Super cute and mix them. It would be adorable.
Yeah. And then also I have Minnick and Simpson collections that
Oh,
I
yeah.
just keep a Minnick and Simpson stash. So because I like red, white, and blue quilts.
You have a lot of Minnick and Simpson. That is true.
I should probably make another big quilt and try to tear through some of that stash. Okay, next topic related to stash is scraps. And the first question is, what is your scrap situation now?
So I'm going to go first because I had a bit of a reality check from a friend. She caught me. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
She caught me at the bus stop because she had started a quilt and she'd gotten some fabrics from me. And she wanted to make the quilt a little bit bigger. And she was just missing a few like scrap sizes. And she said, Chelsea, would you see if you have any of these 3 prints in your scrap bins?
Right.
And I went through the scrap bins and I thought to myself, oh boy, I need to organize these a little bit better. And I found some scraps for her and I was really happy I did because she's going to be able to implement these in the quilt. But there is a better way. I thought I was pretty organized, but I'm going to go back through now that she kind of forced me to go in there and go through them.
So that's something on your list is to go through your scrap bins.
But because I'm like working on quilts, I'm like, oh man. But yeah, there's about 6 bins. And they could be organized a little bit better and it would be a little bit more efficient. So,
right.
Yeah. And like my bins that have like all 2.5-inch squares, those are fine. Like I can, anything that's 2.5-inch squares can go in there, like 2.5-inch strips. But this is different because it's just like I have blues and greens in one bin. There's like 6 different bins. And I'm just like, I got to go through this a little bit better. Yeah, it was kind of a reality check.
Wow.
I don't want to touch my closet right now because it's just a hot mess. So, what's your situation?
Okay, so with the new fabric, when I sew new quilts,
this is a good point.
I really do have. Okay, so if it's going to be a fat 1/8 bundle quilt, I will cut a fat 1/8 bundle. I will sew that quilt only using to make sure that I really can make that quilt from what I am
to do the math.
To double check my math. And then I kind of keep those scraps in a pile. Well, I recently finished, 6 quilts. So I had these 6 different piles of leftovers. And now they're all in one jumbled mess on a cutting mat in the guest room because I had to get them out of my sewing room because I couldn't even work.
Put them in a bin.
So, but you know what? This weekend, I'm going to go through all of them and I'm going to cut 5-inch squares, 2.5-inch strips, and 2.5-inch squares, I think is what I finally decided.
You could make a really cool scrap quilt with that.
That's what I thought. So I'm going to just go through everything. And then if there are other pieces, I'll probably do some 1.5-inch strips too, but 1.5-inch, 2.5-inch strips, 2.5-inch squares, and 5-inch strips or squares. And I'm just going to get that mess off of the cutting mat. So that's,
oh my goodness.
That's that situation. Everything else is pretty good. It's usually the collection that I'm working with that is kind of a mess.
See, I should set aside time to do that. So what she said is exactly what I do. When I'm making the quilts, I am making sure that I am measuring and making sure that the math is right while I'm making the quilt. And I do the same thing. I have a little corner where I put all the scraps from the fabric collection we're working on. And what happens with mine is they go into a bin. And so I have not touched those bins in a while. So right now I've got a pretty full Simply Delightful bin. And this collections bin it's not full yet, but it will get there.
Yeah.
So I should do what you do. It would keep you so much more organized because here's the thing. In your mind, if you go open a bin in your closet and it has a bunch of scraps, all different sizes, what are you most likely going to do with it? Put it back in the closet, right? But if months later you go back to the bin and there's 5-inch cut squares and 2.5-inch squares, like mom does, you're probably going to say, oh yeah, I'll start a project with that.
Yeah.
Which makes it so nice. So I should do that.
Yeah. You did remind me, though. I do have a bin of Simply Delightful scraps that I just never went and did that with.
Yeah.
It's because
Mine is bad.
this collection was so quick on the heels of that.
And that's how I felt, is they were so close together that I was just trying to organize it and make sure Simply Delightful was all in one place.
Right.
So if I needed to go to it.
Right.
Like I'm doing all of my Socialites blocks in Simply Delightful. So it makes it nice.
Oh, they're so cute, by the way.
Thank you. I've had so much fun making them.
I used those photos you sent me on my Saturday 7 post last week. Yeah, so that was fun.
Mom.
I had already done my Friday post for Socialites, but I used them for Saturday. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm
cute.
loving it. And it's nice because I can just go open the bin and be like, oh, okay, like which colors haven't I used? Which prints haven't I used?
Yeah.
And make it. But
Okay, this question, how small is too small to keep for a scrap?
okay, if it is below 1.5 inches, I throw it out.
Okay.
I am most likely not going to sew. Like if it's a 1.5 inch square, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll keep that. I
Yeah.
can make a mini heart with that, a 4-inch finished heart with that, with
Right.
all of the different things, you know?
I do have a bunch of triangles. I can't decide if I should keep them or throw them away, but they were from 2.5-inch flying geese. So I feel like by the time I sewed them and trimmed them, it would only make a 1.5-inch half square triangle. You know what I mean?
Are you talking the when you cut
When you
off
trim
on the when you trim
for the flying
you
geese.
keep the triangles?
These are pretty small. I think I might throw them away.
Okay,
If they're bigger, if it's a 3.5-inch and I can trim it down to a 2.5-inch unfinished half square triangle, I always keep
who
those.
has the time?
I always keep them because I use them as leaders and enders.
Oh,
So I always keep those. But when it's smaller, when it's not going to make a 2-inch finished half square triangle, I sometimes just toss them.
okay. Let's talk about triangles. Camille Ross Kelly posted. This was a few years ago. She jokingly posted she had this huge garbage bag under her table. And she's like, guess what this is filled with? All triangles. And I thought to myself, wow, I got a couple bins of triangles that I'm not willing to let go. And it was like, I couldn't even stand it.
Wow.
But I also can't let them go.
Yeah. I have heard of people using those for dog beds and that there are places to
Billy's
donate
interested
them.
now.
Yeah.
Mom,
You caught my attention.
Yes, we mentioned that. But
Jack
yeah.
would
Like a stuffing?
Yeah, like a stuffing.
because they're small scraps and so they really work really well to stuff something like
you
that.
could make Jack a new dog bed.
Okay, we can both save all of our triangles.
Well, you know what's actually funny that you bring that up is I bought him like a really expensive bed 2 years ago. I think it was about 2 years ago.
Is that the one you bring out here sometimes or no?
That's
okay.
a cheaper one that that sort of like travels. But I'll try to make this as short as possible.
Oh, no.
He eventually tore it up, but it ended up being a pretty good. I don't know what it was. But it ended up being. That's how I discovered he had that tumor in his mouth. Which if any, I've never talked about it here before, but I got it removed earlier this year. It didn't spread to anywhere else in his body, and he's good and he's healthy. But it was because of that, and I remember thinking, why is he? I don't know if it was separation anxiety. Ever since I started working from home, I think he has it now because I was home for so long, even when I was still teaching.
Right.
He just got used to me always being around. So anyway, he tore up this expensive bed. He tore up the memory foam, but that's when I first found blood on it, and then I checked his mouth. So, but I sort of I've like restuffed it with the different pieces that he's torn up, and I put this other thing over it. Anyway, I'm in the market for a new dog bed.
Wow.
Is what I'm getting at.
Okay.
And I was actually thinking about even soon just going and maybe not getting him as expensive as a bed since he didn't treat the last one very well. And I mean, he's a great dog. He never tears up anything.
Yeah.
It was really weird that he did it, but it ended up being, I'm glad he did because I don't know.
Something in there he was allergic to or
Yeah,
an
maybe.
odor or.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway,
He just missed you.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how quickly we can save up enough scraps for a dog bed, but we could start
I
putting
got
them
a
in
lot.
Really?
I got a
Okay.
lot.
Put them in a garbage bag.
Let's do it. Let's combine
we'll
our
see
efforts.
where we're at.
Okay.
Let's combine our efforts.
Okay, so that's a good, because I was going to ask anyway. With that was a question that caught my interest too. Is, you know, I see you throw little things away here and there, and I know some you have to, but I have, if I remember right, on other videos, people have said, "Oh, don't throw that away," you know, or I think some people save really small scraps.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. So I was thinking, well, what do you do with them? But you know, if you can recycle them, do something like that, that's much better than them going to a landfill.
Yeah,
You know?
totally. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, why throw it out? It's such nice
Right.
material. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, next topic is orphan blocks. And I have to tell you a really quick story about why this ended up here was because yesterday I wrote this, what I thought was a terrific blog post that linked all of the free block tutorials that I have had on my site over the past 13 years, right? Or many of them. And so I was super excited, but I got up in the morning and this woman had left a comment that some of the pictures weren't showing up in the older posts.
Oh no.
But then what I realized was they were showing up on a PC, but they weren't showing up on phones or any type of Mac product.
Yeah.
So they weren't showing up on my laptop or my iPhone, but it was showing up on my PC. So anyway, I hurried up and I emailed my tech support people. But in the meantime, I thought, well, maybe I have some pictures of those types of blocks.
Yeah.
Maybe I have some blocks that I can hurry up and take photos of and insert into those posts so I went through my orphan blocks, and luckily, while I did find many blocks, by the time I was ready to take pictures, the tech people had figured it out and got the images all showing, and it was all fine. But it did send me to my orphan
Yeah,
block.
the silver lining was.
Yes. And I realized I have got to do something with these. I have enough for a quilt.
A quilt? Yeah,
Yes,
why not?
I really do. So they're all in 2 different drawers. And I put on here, how many do you have? I didn't count them, but I know I have 75 to 100
Are you serious?
of different sizes. A lot of them are 6-inch.
But that's so cool.
Yeah. So I've got a lot of orphan
Wow.
blocks.
How do you feel about that though with them? Are they all our fabrics or obviously they're not?
The majority, once we started designing fabrics, I started
Yeah.
making all my test blocks with our fabrics. And
Yeah.
then, there were a few sew-alongs that I started but never finished.
But never finished, yeah.
And so I have blocks from those. And so, yeah, I have quite a few.
I'm
need to
actually going to
make
write
something.
this down. I'm going to do a separate orphan block bin.
Yeah. I have them all in a drawer.
Yeah.
In a
One of those slide out drawers.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, I think it's a great thing. I think it would be fun. Maybe count and see how many you have.
Yeah. Now I'm like, I want to go home and do that because I have
Yeah.
them just in a big bin
Right.
with other things up in my closet.
Yeah.
And I love them. It just, sometimes I end up with a block or a test block or
Right.
like you said, sometimes I'll start something and not finish like that sew along or whatever.
Right.
But I still have the blocks that I made. And I'm always like, I'm not going to get rid of these. Like I
Right.
made these.
Yeah. And wouldn't it make a great picnic quilt for your soccer
Yes.
games or
Yeah.
anything like that? Just to make a big scrappy orphan block quilt to just throw on the ground. And
You should have seen me last night. I had like 4 quilts. I went to my
Flag
son's
football.
flag football, and it was freezing cold. And I was huddled under my quilts, you guys.
Yeah.
They have those kindergartners out there like it's, the NFL playoffs. We're going to play in any weather.
They really do.
10 below, it doesn't matter. Get out there, kids.
Get out there, ready, break. They
thought-
really do.
I thought they would have canceled it, not last night, but the week before when it was raining.
Raining and blistering, like these winds, you guys. The sand was like crazy. My son was in like 4 layers of clothes and a beanie. Yeah, they couldn't even move.
Yeah.
To run a touchdown. They're all like little penguins, like running around the
in
field.
the Christmas story, the
Yes.
little boy is kind of
Yes.
waddling.
It is so funny in our town. It's very like these sports are so competitive, and I'm sure they are everywhere, but it just cracks me up because anyways.
Because last week I was out here working and I was going to go to the game because the fields they play at aren't too far. So I was going to bring Jack, my dog. And so we were walking, but it was so windy. And then the road to get there, which again isn't very far, but there was a light sprinkle and then wind that was blowing dirt. And as soon as I got around the corner, I said, Jack's going to be a mud ball by the time I get there with the rain and the sand. So I turned around and came. I'm not going to. I just gave him a bath recently. I'm not going to turn him into a walking mud ball.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, it was bad, and it was just freezing last night.
Yeah. Well,
just so cold.
Is there a game next week?
Every week for the
Thanksgiving week.
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
I'll let you know.
Okay, so it'll be after Thanksgiving.
I think after Thanksgiving, and we go into December. Actually, I don't know. I think since it's a Tuesday game, they'll have it.
Maybe there is a game.
Yeah, I'll check the schedule.
Because if it's really cold, I can just sit in my car and watch.
Oh, I'm bringing the parka.
Well, but this brings up the point of, these outdoor quilts and different things you guys can do.
Right.
Recycling. Okay, you're not going to use a display quilt, but you guys have...
Yeah.
Plenty of scraps.
Yeah.
You should bring some extras. If you see anyone cold at the games, you can go let them borrow a quilt.
What a way to share.
Well, I like to look at...
I like this idea of
I should
yours.
put one in my car just so I always have it.
Yeah, I like this.
Yeah.
I like to look at practical uses for these things other than I know that these are displayed quilts and everything, but there's a lot of practical uses for... Obviously, there's practical uses for quilts. People have been using them for hundreds and hundreds of years to stay warm.
Right.
I love that.
Okay, look at that. That was a fun topic, orphan blocks. Okay, current projects. How many? Well, how do you organize current projects?
Oh, easy. In bins. I mean, obviously,
me too.
once I've got blocks going and everything, I have them in those drawers, which is really nice. I have a couple drawers of those, but... I mean, I'm pretty, if we're talking new quilts with this next collection, I'm sewing 2 quilts at the same time. Like I have that going on and keep them separate. I'm actually totally running out of room in my closet because I did not anticipate with this collection being an extra collection this year, not having room in my sewing room. It's taking up, there is stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
And I am like, oh my goodness, I want to go start setting things up at my mom. Like, I'll come set my sewing machine up at your house. Like, I don't know why I don't. My kids are in school all day.
Yeah, you could. Or you could sew on this other
I
Juki.
know.
You should come over sometime.
Well, and because I'm just going to share this really quickly. A couple weeks ago, I came home and my entire master bathroom had flooded. And I got there just in time to stop the water from hitting the wood floors in the hallway. Now, granted, our master bedroom was all concrete except for my sewing room. And we had to rip up about 3 lengths of the wood to my sewing room. And guys, I will say this, nothing else was damaged, but it's just like my sewing room is kind of torn apart right now. And my sewing table is lopsided because half of it's on wood floor and half of it's not. Like,
oh, yeah. If you need to come sew, come sew.
Yeah, could you make me lunch too?
Yeah, it's all about the food.
Some days, you guys, when it's crazy in the house and we're doing homework and we're getting reading time in, I'm really enjoying reading the 3rd Harry Potter book with my oldest daughter and her telling me all about it, which is really fun. But some days I'm like, wow, it would be so, when there's complaints,
right?
It would be, sometimes I'm like, you guys, you want to know how nice it would be to go just move into the guest room at mom's house and read a book silently for 2 hours? Yeah. I would take that up in a heartbeat and have a home cooked meal. My kids are like, oh, mom.
Oh, that's fun. That's very sweet. Thank you. Let's see. I was actually sewing 2 things at one time recently too, because I was working on the quilt that I'm doing for you now.
She's so nice to me.
Well, and I had this idea to do my country home bench pillow in the new collection. Yeah. And I was taking another quilt into the quilter, and I thought, if I hurry up and finish that bench pillow, I can take it with it. And so I had your stuff and and anyway, but yeah, that's quite a task to juggle more than one project at one time.
And it makes it a little bit more difficult, especially because I'm also checking math at the same time.
Right.
So I'm making little notes
Right.
about it all. So far, so
Right.
good.
And
Knock on wood.
Yeah, that was the nice thing about the bench pillow. I just got out my old pattern. I just
Yes.
read
Oh
my
my
own pattern. It was so
goodness.
much fun. It was so much
Yeah.
easier than the new quilts where I'm taking notes and making sure
Yeah.
that everything is good.
What is great about this is, and I did this on purpose, one of the quilts is a fat eighth quilt, and the other quilt is a layer cake and charm pack quilt.
Oh.
And so it's so nice because it's just the layer cakes where I didn't have to do anything
Yeah.
like crazy with the ironing. And
Yeah.
I love it. It's going to be so cute. So
Oh,
far,
yeah.
it's good, but
And that was what was nice too this time. We got our pre-cuts fairly early. So I also had
Yeah.
a layer cake quilt that I was able to just use the layer cake from Moda that came instead of cutting my own
Yeah, I
layer cake
never-
squares. And that was so much
yeah, I never
quicker.
save it.
Yeah.
I'm always like, thank goodness I got a layer cake
Yes,
because this is going to
yes.
save me so much time.
Yeah, it was wonderful. Okay, last question under that topic. Do you have any long-term works in progress? Socialites, I guess.
Yeah, because I was going to categorize that in as like socialites.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that would be my long-term project.
Okay, yeah.
I'm really enjoying it, and my week was week 4, so I can kind of like breathe
can
a little.
relax.
Yes, I
Yeah.
can relax and not have to worry. I always get kind of stressed about it when it's my turn to share.
You just have one to do for the whole thing?
Well,
Yeah,
I
like,
think,
we
how many blocks are there?
designed-
24 or
there's
28?
24.
24, okay.
And each designer designed a block.
Right.
So I'm caught up. So I have all the first 4 blocks
Yeah.
done, and then the 5th will release
Yeah.
this Friday, right?
Yeah, I need to make block 5.
But they organized us all. So like mom's week
I'm at the
is, yeah,
end.
mom's like at the end.
Yeah.
And I was week 4.
Yeah.
So
But you don't have to do more than one design.
Right.
no, I
Gotcha.
don't have to do, now I can just happily sew.
Right.
And not worry about
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, I have that. And then I have some other long-term works in progress that I really need to get going on after I finish your quilts that I feel like this is the time of year also when I sometimes pull those long-term projects out and make a few blocks,
Really?
think about where they're going. So I have that village quilt with the houses.
Oh yeah, you do. Yeah.
And every time we get a new collection, I make anywhere from 4 to 10 blocks out
See,
of
I
it.
kind of need
So,
something like that.
Yeah. And,
Your
and
log cabins. Whatever happened to your cute little log cabins?
the little ones?
Yeah.
The tiny ones.
The tiny ones.
They ended up being a pillow
Oh, they did.
in my book.
I remember that.
Yeah, but I'm starting another set of them for
That's actually
something
one of my
else.
favorites.
Yeah, I'm making more. Okay, so anyway, I think this has been really fun.
Yeah.
I think this is a really good time of year to evaluate your stash, think about where
Reflect.
think
Yeah.
about where you're going with it before the new year. And I always do kind of a big organization this time of year. So as soon as I finish the quilt I'm working on for Chelsea and maybe one more,
Maybe one more.
I will be doing that. But yeah, I thought this would be a fun topic for this time of year. And
it.
yes. So we actually have another really great question that Billy's going to ask to both of us now to kind of round out our episode.
Yeah. So this is a topic I had saved. I can't remember how long ago. It seems like it might have been a while ago when I was gathering topics for future podcasts. But I figured today might be a good day to do it. So here's the question for both of you. If you could take a class from any quilter, past or present, who would it be and what would you want to learn and or make? Okay, so this could be any type of like technique you want to learn, or if there's a specific quilt from a quilter that you've always wanted to make and you'd be like, you had the opportunity to take a class from her, then, and it could be anyone, it's like that question of who would you want to have dinner with, you
Right.
could have it with Albert Einstein or somebody, like that's passed away. Yes. And then any type of questions you would do if you could pick their brains. So Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll start. I actually first wanted to just mention a few excellent quilters that I have taken classes from that have really affected my entire quilting life. I think the first famous quilter I ever took a class from might have been Carrie Nelson.
Really?
Yeah, I drove to St. George and took a class from her, and it was really, really excellent. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
I was just, I think I was blogging then, but I hadn't done any designing myself. That was really a great class. I also in St. George, I took a class from Lori Holt, which was
Oh, she
excellent.
would be wonderful. Yeah.
And I feel like it was an applique class, and I feel like everything I know about applique, I probably learned from Lori in that
Wow.
class. So really, really appreciated that class, and how I feel like I don't even know how many years ago that was, but it has to be more than 10 years ago, I would think. So, but I also had the opportunity when I was in Wisconsin to have Lisa Bonjean give me it wasn't really a class, but she just came and sat with me for a while and showed me a lot of different things about wool applique, and really, really learned so much. So wool is something that, I've got some wool in the closet, and I've got a few little things that I've done, but it's very pricey, and then when we started designing fabric, I feel like I kind of stepped away from the wool a little bit, but I feel like if I took a class from Lisa Bonjean, I could just jump right back in that wool, and there are some really fun things.
She's mesmerizing
Yeah.
to watch. I watched her give a demonstration at Market, and she's wonderful.
Yeah. So, but just kind of to wrap it up, this is what I think would be my dream quilting class. I thought about this last night when I saw the question. Lisa Alexander,
Oh my goodness.
Susan Aki together teaching a class. Would that be fun or what? That would
How
be
did
amazing.
you know?
Are you going to say the same thing?
Immediately, I knew Lisa Alexander and Susan Aki because of their book.
Yes.
I want them together.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll take them separately. I've had the pleasure of meeting Susan Aki at a quilt market. That is so
Would
funny.
that be fun?
And it would be hilarious because they are such a great combo, and I have so much respect for both of them. And Lisa Alexander is just incredible. That is so crazy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I want both of them in a class.
Yeah.
Susan Aki has like a talent though. She really she puts together the most incredible quilts.
Right.
And
her
I just
creativity is
that
endless.
is so crazy.
I do have to say too, fastest student who ever took one of my classes, Vanessa Gertzen, Lella Boutique.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
She was so fast. She took
Your
a
curves class.
curved piecing class
Yeah,
from me.
she picked it up really quick.
And she was the superstar student. Yes. She had all of these blocks.
She's just basically a superstar.
Well, it was just before she started designing.
No, she was designing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So she just took a class.
She just took, it was
I love
really
that
fun.
about
She lives in St. George area. So it was just really fun to hang out with her. And I felt kind of insecure teaching her, but
I have to shout out Vanessa though right now. She called me a couple days ago and said, your podcast is so wonderful, and I feel like I'm sitting down with the both of you, and you guys just do such a great job, and she was so happy for us. And I'm like, oh my goodness, you listened to it. Like,
well, did you invite her to come back on?
Oh, I should have, and I'll message her again today. We're trying to get tickets for a concert, but we can't get tickets, so I need to message her.
Yeah, we should have her come back since she lives so close.
We should.
Yeah.
We should. Yeah.
So you guys chose the same exact.
Yeah, I'm being 100% honest. I'm being 100% honest.
They did not say anything before we started recording. I can attest to that. So.
Because I did when I first saw the question, I was like, I don't know. And I literally was like, if I took a class from anyone, it would be Lisa Alexander and Susan Aki.
Yeah.
They're two of a kind,
They
guys, with their new book.
Yeah. And oh my goodness, Lisa's son, Bo, have you seen all of his reels on Instagram with the quilts? We should maybe have Billy watch one of Bo's.
You had mentioned that before. Is it still going on?
It's still going on.
Yeah.
Let me just tell you about Bo. I actually would love to have Bo on the podcast. I want Bo on the podcast.
So
And you want to know what? I think he'd say yes. I think he would. They make the funniest videos.
Yes, they're
And
fun
it's
to watch.
so cute. And he loves his mom. I love that. Oh, goodness.
I'm really good about not watching reels. I'm really, really good about it. But those draw me in. So
it's so funny, you guys. I'm sure everyone go look at Lisa Alexander's Instagram.
Yes.
You will know exactly who Bo is when you see him.
Yes.
I could go on and on.
Yeah.
I will say this, though, about Susan Aki. She wrote a Christmas book. This was years ago. This was the market I met her.
Oh, right.
And we went to her.
Yeah, we went to her schoolhouse.
Yes, we went to her schoolhouse. And let me tell you, that was the most entertaining schoolhouse I've ever been to in my life. And I already loved her. I knew her from social media. But she is so funny and so just talented. Yeah, I could go on.
Awesome.
We need Susan Aki, we need Lisa Alexander, and we need Bo right now. Lisa, if you're listening, we need Bo on the podcast.
I have one follow-up question from that question, though, because you guys chose the same one. Are there any... I mean, I know you have a lot of quilting friends, other designers, fabric designers. You've met a lot of people in the industry over the last 10 years and everything. But are there any... I don't know, quilters from the 50s or, 50 years ago or whatever that, I don't know, wrote books back then? Or is that more of a recent thing with the whole pattern design? Whereas back then it wasn't as, like, people didn't sell patterns. Do you know, when that started happening?
Quilting really had a revitalization and resurgence around the same time as the bicentennial in this country.
Okay, so in the mid-70s.
Mid-70s,
76.
yeah. And that's actually when my Aunt Carol signed up for a quilting class and invited Grandma to take it with her, and my grandmother, her mom. And that's what got my grandmother back into quilting, and I think many women in the country. So
because, like, the first quilt you made for me, you said that was a popular quilt pattern. Was that a popular quilt designer?
Yes.
Did you ever meet her?
Yes, and I did.
And you have met her?
Yes.
Okay.
So Eleanor Burns, and she wrote a series of books called Quilt in a Day, and all different patterns written with a lot of them were bigger blocks, quick to put together, and I believe her sons run her business now.
Okay.
But I did meet her in an elevator one time at Quilt Market.
That's crazy.
I don't know if you've heard me tell this story, but...
I don't think so.
Oh, boy. Well, real quick, I realized who I was in the elevator with, and I said, I made your double Irish chain quilt in a day. I made 30 of them. That's all I made for 5 years.
My goodness.
And so she's like, oh, it's really nice to meet you. She was so polite. And I was just completely starstruck when I realized who she was and how she had influenced my quilting. I said, I still have the book,
Yeah, you've never told that story. I'm not on the podcast.
She's like, I'm sure you do.
And this was funny too, because it was at a fall quilt market and she was in a witch outfit. Like she was all in full costume.
It was around Halloween.
Because those fall markets are often. And so she was all dressed up for whatever presentation she was going to. And here's this crazy person, in the elevator. I'm sure it happened to her all the time. But.
Oh my goodness.
I was just curious because, obviously the Amish have been making quilts for forever, but I don't think they sell patterns or anything like that. Yeah. So, I just didn't know if there was anybody back, a while ago, but that's interesting.
I should say too, probably like, it'd be fun to take a class from any moda designer, don't you think? Just because we know them and everybody has different areas of expertise.
Yes. And so, we are really like a family.
Yeah. I started thinking while we're talking, Sandy Klopp would be really...
Oh, my goodness.
Barb and Mary.
It would be hilarious.
I've taught next door to Barb and Mary before at a retreat, and... the laughter coming from the room next door.
Oh, yeah.
I was just like, I am not entertaining my people like they are.
I got to up my...
I have a more subtle teaching method, but next door,
goodness.
It was laughter.
Well, see, this is why I missed going to market so much and that's another reason Vanessa and I talked is she's like, it was not the same without you because we hang out. All of the designers hang out.
Right.
And we probably giggle a little bit too much, but it's because we love being around each other. And Probably the same in the class. If I took like a class with like Vanessa, I probably wouldn't get much done because I'd
Right.
probably be laughing so hard the whole time.
Yeah.
But that's with any of the designers.
Yes.
Oh, good. I think that was an interesting topic to finish up with.
That was fun to finish up with that. Okay, so our next episode will be on Monday. December 12th.
12th. Yes.
Okay, it will be the day before we can share our new fabric. Is that crazy or
Yeah,
what?
because we can technically share it the 13th and we're doing the live stream the
Yeah.
14th.
I wonder if we could get special permit. No, because we're doing the live stream on the 14th.
No.
Okay.
Let's share a picture of our bundle and then go straight into the live stream the next day. That'll
Yes. Yeah.
I know we haven't talked about it yet, but I would assume that this next episode might be that goal, recap your goals for
I was gonna ask you
2022.
about
Yeah.
it.
Let's do that
Set
next
goals
time.
for
Yeah.
2023.
Yeah.
Because then we'll have another special announcement about the last podcast of the year.
Yeah.
It won't be a typical one, but we'll tell you guys about it
Right.
then.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah. So that episode on the 12th of December will be kind of a year-end review, goals for the new year, all that kind of.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
And then the live stream on the 14th at 10 a.m. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We love it.
Well, thank you for spending this time with us for today's podcast. We really had a great and enjoyable conversation, and we'll see you again in a couple of weeks.
Thanks so much for stopping by.